Welcome to Business as a Magical Practice, where your business is the vehicle for your self-integration and soul evolution. My name is Sam Garcia, and I'm the founder of Dirty Alchemy Digital Marketing. And I'll be guiding you through how you can use your business as a spiritual practice and what magical businesses are doing to hit their goals and change the world. Together, we'll be relating the mystical to the world of business so that our work can unite spirit and matter, shadow and light, conscious and unconscious. Let's dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Business as a Magical Practice. Today, I have a very special guest and friend, Dr. Rose Schlaff, and she is a pelvic physical therapist, sexual health coach, and the founder of and CEO of Be Well with Rose. She is passionate about helping women and queer leaders take the stress out of sex so they can feel energized and excited during intimacy and connect more deeply in all areas of their relationship. She utilizes simple evidence-based practices based on sexy science.
Yeah.
To amplify your desire and arousal so you can feel confident, connected, and carefree in your relationship in and out of the bedroom. Welcome, Dr. Rose.
So happy to be here.
Yeah, a dear friend, and really excited to hear about some sexy science. And I particularly asked her on because there is I'm most likely have mentioned this on the podcast before, but there's like a little bit of an unspoken thing in the entrepreneurial world, especially with women or humans with female hormones coursing through their veins, that when they get into the CEO role or when they're achieving a lot of things, they lose their libido.
Yep.
And no one talks about it. So
we don't talk about sex drive. No. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Encanto.
Wait, what does a lot of Encanto mean?
Well, okay, I've watched it once and listened to the soundtrack
okay,
ad nauseum.
That makes a lot more sense.
Let me clarify.
Way more sense.
Yes.
Okay, so why does that happen? Because I hear a lot of people talk about it. Or not. No, I don't hear a lot of people talk about it. I hear people whisper about it.
Yes. So many reasons. Oh my gosh, so many reasons. But I hear a lot of the time from my clients who tend to be leaders, tend to be CEOs, that they're getting to the end of their day. They totally have decision fatigue. They've been deciding and leading and supporting, holding space all day long. And sometimes it can feel like your partner is just this person who needs one more thing from you. And that's just not a great feeling. It's not a great dynamic to be in. And I want you to know, if you feel this way, there's something wrong with you, right? Like, this is a very common situation, but there are definitely steps that we can take to shift this. So why is this happening? It's a combination of our nervous system, what is happening in our nervous system. If we are deciding and taking action and leading, we are accessing a very specific part of our nervous system, the action taking part, the sympathetic fight and flight part. And from an evolutionary perspective, it doesn't really make sense if you're running from a tiger to get super horny and lay down and have some sex right then, right? Like, it's just not gonna help you survive. So that's the first part. I think the second part is, even if we can relax, even if we can shift, even for entrepreneurs or leaders who have the ability to have a yoga practice, have a meditation practice, have a relaxation practice, they walk after work, right? Sometimes it's hard to access that sexual part of us. And I think that TV, media, movies have really done us a disservice, because most of it is through the white cis straight male gaze, which basically depicts desire and attraction in a very traditionally male way, which is not the way most people with vaginas experience desire. So all of that to say is, most people who have vulvas, especially those who have been in long-term relationships, need a little bit of time to ramp up what this is called is responsive desire. So imagine I invited you over to my house. It's like the middle of the day. I'm cooking some food. You haven't eaten recently. You're not necessarily hungry. And then you smell my food cooking and you're like, dang, that smells really good. I would love some of that food. Right. But you didn't come to my house like, I'm so hungry. I can't wait to eat at Rose's house. Right. So it's that smelling the food. How many of us have been in a situation or watching Bridgerton or Sex Life and you're like, oh, damn, okay, now I maybe could have some sex. So sometimes we just have to smell the food, but it's so easy if we don't know those two pieces, right? What does our nervous system have to be doing to have us even be open to sex? And then what has to happen after that to work up a sexual appetite, to feel like there's something wrong with us, or we're the only ones that aren't getting down with our partners and, we're broken. And if any of this is resonating with you, I want you to know there's nothing broken about you. This is super common. And also we can shift it.
So good. Yeah. Let's start baking some cookies. Yeah.
That's why realtors are putting that cookie smell in the houses right now.
I know. Great realtors. They know what's up with sex.
You're like, I'm a little horny and a little hungry. And I think I want to buy this house.
What do you know? Oh my God. Bridgerton is playing in the bedroom of the house and the cookie smell is in the kitchen.
Yeah. Pony by Genuine is like on in the guest room. You're like, do I want to fuck this house? I don't know.
But I can fuck in this house. I should probably get that. Oh my gosh. That's so good. So is it more than just us not making ourselves hungry, or is there a something bigger at play than just being in the sympathetic nervous system all day?
It just depends, right? So every person is individual. And the way that I imagine this, we all have this shining light of libido, of drive, of interest, and sexuality. And some of us may have lights that shine like super, super bright, and we may be super interested at baseline. And some of us have lights that aren't as bright. But what happens a lot of the time over the span of our lifetime or over different seasons of our lifetime is we will feel less connection or more connection to that light of interest. And so really it's about, okay, identifying, hey, what is my baseline? Like, what is actually my interest level? How much of this is schmutz or dirt or gunk that's kind of impacting my ability to connect? And there's a lot, right? Not just the nervous system, but also societal expectations about sex, societal expectations about relationships, or people who have been raised as female, what we are exposed to, what we are expected to do, and how we are trained. Really just identifying, all of those unspoken narratives that are there, that can be a big factor. And then also identifying the physiology. So people with uteruses have more of like a 28 to 35, depending, day cycle. So could be, okay, wow, like, why did I really feel like having sex last week, but I just am not interested at all today? It could be a part of your cycle where you're at on the menstrual cycle, or if you've had an experience with birth control pills, your hormones could be a little bit different. So there's all of this physiology at play. There's all of this societal stuff at play. There's all of these sneaky dynamics in our relationship. So it is an onion that we need to peel and optimize. And there are a lot of things that can shift quickly, and there are a lot of things that take a little bit more time and a little bit more practice to retrain.
So are there any like main things that most people, because it's interesting from knowing you and knowing your extensive background, and you've mentioned a few times personally, like, oh, there's some like basic pelvic floor health that I wish everyone knew.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Can
absolutely.
you give us an example of that?
Yeah. So I think in general, most people are not aware of what their pelvises are up to, what they're doing, right? We're just not connected to our pelvis. And it makes sense, right? There's not there's not a big focus on it. Most of us, oh my gosh, being raised in a capitalist production focused society, are not even connected to our bodies at all. I mean, how many of us have gone 8 hours and like, oh my gosh, I didn't eat lunch and I never peed and I haven't had water for 4 hours, it's just easy for us to be disconnected to our bodies. But what I want every person to know about your pelvis is there's a bunch of muscles down there. It's called your pelvic floor. Your pelvic floor is the base of your core, and it is connected to your breathing. So if you are breathing with your diaphragm, which is your muscle that sits under your rib cage, kind of looks like a big umbrella, and it helps us relax. You may have, if you've been in a yoga class, been told to breathe more with your belly than your chest, right? That's one way to kind of start to access your diaphragm. But if we're breathing in an effective way that's utilizing our diaphragm, our pelvic floor should be working with this. So a lot of us have lost that connection between our pelvis and our breath. A lot of us have forgotten or never learned how to breathe. And 95% of people with low back pain have some kind of pelvic floor dysfunction. So the pelvis is not just related to sex, it's related to our backs, how stable we are in our bodies. It's related to how frequently we're peeing, if we're leaking pee when we're sneezing, if we're like, I just have a small bladder, I pee every 20 minutes. No, you don't. There's probably a pelvic floor muscle dysfunction that's underlying. And just knowing, hey, this is common, but not normal. I have muscles down here. Connecting to these can help me be more supported in my spine, can help me have a healthier connection between my bladder, my bowels. It can help me have an orgasm more easily and with more power potentially, because our pelvic floor muscles contract rhythmically on orgasm. And if we're exposed to something that's scary, our pelvic floor and our shoulders are the two muscles that contract the fastest. So if you're someone who has jaw tension, who has shoulder tension, your pelvic floor is probably holding on to some tension. And don't worry, we have strategies, we have breathing, we have stretches that can release that. But just, I've clearly been on a Disney rant because I just hear like a whole new world. Like I do feel like it's this whole new world that we never talk about. It's like, whoa, there's muscles down here and they do a lot of different things. And I can change those things with my breathing and with stretching and with awareness. So
what's on the other side? What is in the whole new world? What's on the other side of the whole new world?
Yeah, I feel like once you have more awareness of your pelvic floor, there's a lot of different things that may happen as a side effect, right? You may find that you no longer have back pain or hip pain. You may find that you feel stronger in your body. You may find that you're able to reach orgasm more quickly and more easily. If you're someone who has a vagina, or if you're someone with a penis, you might be able to last longer if you want to last longer, or have an erection for longer if you want that. If you are someone who wants to sleep through the night without ever waking up to go pee, that could be a side effect of getting more awareness of your pelvic floor and connecting to it. You might have better poops, right? Like, there's a lot of things on the other side, but I just think we don't talk about this at all. We don't talk about our pelvises, and they are pretty simple strategies that even my background, my original, background is as a physical therapist, and we don't learn anything about pelvic floor in our doctoral program. We have to go to multiple weekend courses.
That's like continued education type things, or is that like if you're specializing in that route?
Yep. So there's barely any maternal, pregnancy, postpartum pelvic floor. And I've had many clients come to me after working with 6, 7, 8 physical therapists who have been seeing them for back pain. Come to me, we've found out, okay, there's some pelvic floor dysfunction. Here's a simple breathing technique. Here's a simple way to shift how you're doing things that actually incorporates your pelvic floor. I've seen people's back pain go away after years. And we just need to do better as a medical system, but also as a society, to shine a spotlight on the things that nobody wants to talk about, the hidden things, the things that are tucked away and sometimes more sensitive to discuss, because we are all navigating it. Super common. All of these things are super common.
So how did you get into this?
Yeah.
What got you into the pelvic space?
Everybody always asks. So I have always, I mean, you're a friend of mine, you can probably attest to this, but I've always been that one friend that people are kind of share their sensitive things with. They share, like, I've never told anyone this, but here's this thing that's going on, or am I weird? What do you think? And I think I've always had a superpower of making the uncomfortable comfortable, right? The untalkaboutable talkaboutable. And I started my career as a physical therapist because I had gone through a lot with my mom, who has a disability, and seen how profoundly physical therapy could take away her pain without medication. That was magic to me. But there was always a little part of me that was like, oh, I would love to be a sex therapist. And when I found out
Really?
Yes, always.
At what age did that start?
Yeah. And so I found out pelvic floor physical therapy was a thing. I was like, wow, this is perfect. I can talk about sex. I can talk about the things that are sensitive. I can talk about pregnancy, postpartum, pooping, peeing, all the P's, and pleasure. And I loved it. I was in a fabulous facility with one of the 3 physicians in the United States that specializes in this. And we had a sex therapist in our office. We had myself, we had the sexual medicine physician, and I learned a lot. And also I was struggling intensely with my own physical health. And so there was a piece of me that felt like, wow, you know so much about the human body, you know so much about, you're right next door to a sex therapist, you're right next door to a doctor who's an expert in hormones. And why do you still feel like you're white knuckling in your body? Why do you still feel like you're getting depleted in this way that wasn't happening before? And ultimately there was a physical component, right? I did have a hormonal imbalance, and at the end of addressing that hormonal imbalance, I still felt completely disconnected to my body. I still felt completely disconnected from my partner, which was unusual for me prior to this year of my life. And I did feel broken. I felt like the medical model had failed me, and I really just didn't know where to go next. But I stumbled into coaching because I was trying to figure out functional nutrition. I found this program, and it was really, really well designed because they forced you to go through coaching for 6 months before they taught you anything about nutrition. And lo and behold, I completely shifted with the coaching alone. And I think the difference between the coaching that I went through versus the therapy that I had been in was this wide angle approach of looking at the systems and the societal norms that impact women and people who are socialized as female. You know, my perfectionism, my desire to please, my overgiving, my overachieving, my patterns that I thought were just roseisms, I realized are not. They are totally learned societal things that the majority of people who are socialized as women have internalized. And I saw it come out in a lot of different ways in my clients. I saw it come out in a lot of different ways in myself. And when I started having those conversations, in addition to the physical conversations and the psychological conversations, that's when I saw a real shift. It was just this permission to be, and this release of like, there's nothing wrong with me. It makes perfect sense why I'm feeling this way. And it was amazing. I think when I was just addressing the physical part of my client's life, which is, you know, I just had a baby. How do I get back to my body? How do I reconnect with my partner? Just addressing your physical therapy and saying, okay, your pelvic floor looks good, go have some sex. It just was, not as much as I needed. And I think it was not as much as they needed. And I saw a difference. I saw that people finally started feeling connected, not just open to intimacy. I think there's a difference between, okay, I'll do it because I know it's good for us, versus I'm actually excited to have sex. It feels easy. It feels energizing. Like, this is something I look forward to. It's not just one more thing on my to-do list. And that's the shift I started to see when I started implementing these things. So for me, that was really important. That's the program that I needed when I was going through my health journey. That's what I looked for in the clinic, and I couldn't find one, so I built it. And that's how I created my coaching practice, because I do think it's really important to address, yes, there's a lot of physiology that goes into sexual wellness. Yes, there's a lot of relationship dynamics and communication strategies. Yes, there's a lot of societal impact on our sexual selves. And yes, there's a lot we can do with our pelvic floor to optimize sexuality. All of these things need to be addressed, not just one in a silo. So that's how I got here, helping women and career leaders reconnect to their bodies, their partners, their pleasure. And I love it. It's my favorite. I've worked with people all over the world, and we're all navigating the same things. We just feel like we're alone.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting because it almost sounds like your normal clients before are a little bit of the opposite of listeners here, where they were only trying to address the physical and they needed the mind, spirit connected to it. Where I feel like a lot of the people listening here, they go to the coaching, the mindset, that sort of work first, and then they don't do like go to a pelvic floor practitioner type of thing, you know?
Yeah. And it's very interesting now, because the majority of my clients come direct referrals from either therapists and coaches who are just addressing mental, spiritual, right? Or physical therapists who are just addressing the physical. And we need to address it all. It's all interconnected, and both pieces are extremely important. And yeah, sometimes, hey, maybe you're on birth control pills and you have a pelvic floor that's holding on too tightly, and you've done all this mindset work, and you've meditated, and you've used a yoni egg, and you've, done all these things, but it's just simple physical shifts or simple nervous system shifts. And hey, maybe you've done all those things, but you still feel unsafe because you've never created boundaries in your relationship around sex, or you've never really addressed the religious programming that you received as a kid in your family that told you that sex was wrong before marriage. And when you're married, you're just supposed to flip a switch and become a sex goddess, right? Like, so it's all of it.
Yeah. I love that. I did have some questions come in that I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
So one is, how does Rose make sure that more pleasure in bed translates to more pleasure in business?
Such a powerful question. So I am a big believer in, when you do one thing a certain way, you're probably going to do most other things in your life a certain way. And I feel like a lot of the time I see a ripple out into people's businesses, because what we need to do to get more pleasure in bed is get really comfortable and connected with our body. And I think so much of our wisdom about our business lies in our body too, right? Business decisions. How does it feel in my body to think about creating a new course, or to think about doing a podcast, or to get this new client, right? How does it feel? So one, connecting to your inner intuition through the body. Two, getting really clear on what feels good and seeking out pleasure. I think we're not taught how to seek pleasure. We're taught how to work really hard and make money and produce, but pleasure is sustainable. And so if you're moving through your business with a knowing in your body of what pleasure feels like, and a continuous turning towards pleasure and ease, it's a surefire way that you're going to create sustainable systems in your business that are fun to show up for and that you actually enjoy showing up for. And then the other piece of this is a lot of pleasure in the bedroom is about advocating for what we want and need and actually asking.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on that. And receiving, right? How many of your clients need help receiving support in their business when they make their first hire? Oh my gosh, it's so difficult for us to be able to receive, because I think that we've been taught, oh, if you're strong, you do it all by yourself. You don't need anyone. You're the one that gives, right? It's worthy if you give, if you help, if you support. How many of your clients have told you how easy it is to help their friends out, shout out their promotions? And then when it comes to asking for support in theirs, it's like, oh, it feels so uncomfortable to ask people for help or to even ask people to join, right?
Yeah.
And then,
well, the other side of it is like wanting to be in control because they don't believe someone else will do it as good as they will.
Yeah. And so let's talk about control and orgasm. Oh my gosh, like learning how to trust your body and trust your partner completely, or yourself. You can have an orgasm by yourself, and you should. But what a beautiful practice in surrender, full body surrender and trust. And that is so important for business. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I love that. It's just interesting the wording of this question. I just want to like look at it for a second of like, how do you make sure that pleasure in bed translates to more pleasure in business? It's just like the make sure part of it. I'm like, what is that there?
Yes. Yeah, there's some control right there for you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like, and I think so many things can happen because you intend them to be, or just you're conscious of it. Like, I'm intending to work on this and it to apply to both areas. How can I bring more pleasure into both areas? And reminding yourself of that. It's not like I need to make sure that what I do over here counts over here.
Yes.
Yeah, you know.
And also your pleasure is worthy. You are worthy of pleasure. Full stop.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't translate
into shit.
To a traditional measure of success like money or clients or business acumen, right? It's just another reflection of the patriarchal narrative of the one way that you're worthy is by producing and creating something that makes money, right? And so pleasure just for the sake of pleasure,
Yeah, I had a experience with this earlier in the year where I had this luxury experience. And while I was experiencing it, I was judging and like felt incredibly uncomfortable in it. And afterwards, when I was like reviewing all of it, it was realizing that it was my default of like, there was an invitation to clear more around money coming first. Of like money, like the financial side of this being more important than my time, being more important than me enjoying the experience, being more important than, and like what a huge thing around. It was just such a reflection. Like I could see it happen for so many of us that we put money first.
Yes.
Above everything.
Yes.
Like, especially as business owners, it's like, more, you know, like they're like, especially in, you hear over and over again, it's so easy to sell business and marketing because you're selling more money. And like, no one like, so that's what you hear a lot of people say. And it's like, well, how do we actually train people? Like, if this is like a larger, it doesn't have to be this, like, it'll take years and years for everyone to start prioritizing other things first, but like, first you need to train yourself.
Yes.
First you need to train yourself to like prioritize your body, to prioritize your pleasure above money.
Yes. And I just want to name, this is not like a one stop, like, oh, so happy I made it to the top of this mountain. Now I'm going to prioritize pleasure. Like I'm graduated, right? We're all on this spiral staircase, continuing to grow, continuing to turn toward these values, but really saying to yourself and identifying, it is worthy. I am worthy of investing in my pleasure, even if, right? Even if nothing else shifts other than I feel so fucking good.
Yeah.
That is so worth my money, my time, my energy. Right. And
no, you got it.
oh no, I was going to say, I think a lot of the time with my work, people, share with me, I have to do this for my marriage. I have to do this for my partnership. I have to do this to stay connected. And that is such a beautiful intention, because I can tell your relationship matters so much to you. And our people, our VIP people are so valuable. And also you get to be valuable just standalone, even if you are not doing this for another person. Right.
Yeah. And what I wanted to jump in earlier, I love that, by the way, is you hear over and over again of 7-figure or multiple 7-figure entrepreneurs talking about like how you get to these higher levels of success in your business, and you continue to realize that like the monetary number doesn't change anything. And which is in like, if you are like feeling scared around money and unsafe in your life and unsafe in your body, like getting to a certain monetary level in your business is not going to change that at all. And actually, you working on feeling safe in your body, working on developing the capacity to feel pleasure and experience pleasure while you're growing your business will make it so that by the time you're getting to these higher levels of monetary success in your business, like you've had pleasure all along the way.
Yes.
And you can actually enjoy the experience
Yes.
the entire way. And once you get there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And, so many things come to mind, but one of the first things is just like, I think what many, many business owners are really fabulous at is we've had to confront a lot of demons to make steps towards our business, right? We've had to get comfortable sitting with discomfort, sitting with the discomfort of being seen, sitting with the discomfort of asking, right? Making an offer, making an invitation and wondering, will anyone come to my party, right? Will anyone buy my program? And there's so much discomfort that we get really comfortable sitting with, but we forget that we also have to increase our capacity for pleasure, not just discomfort. And it's also a practice and it builds. And so being intentional about that is really, really important. And I've had so many clients. I have a lot of therapists who end up working with me as clients, and they share, I'm a better therapist because of this work, because I am more grounded in my body and my nervous system. I feel safer in my day-to-day, including my sessions. I didn't realize I didn't feel safe, but I feel pleasure and safety in my body. And it makes it so much easier for me to hold space for others. And yes, we've just shared, this is not the reason to do this work, it is for others, but also there's a trickle down of being way more comfortable and way more capacity to interact with others and hold space for others. So if you want to increase your business capacity, this is the best way to do it.
Do you care what actually triggers someone to get into this work? It's like I want to do it for my marriage, and then like they still get the like transformation in their body of feeling the pleasure. So it's like,
yeah, right, totally.
I love what you bring up of like you have to increase this your capacity for discomfort and for pleasure, because it's so common as when you're getting started with business, and I absolutely believed this, where like the more uncomfortable I'm willing to feel, the more the faster I'll grow my business. I 100% believed that, like, and I had so much proof of it. So I was like incredibly willing to feel discomfort. And when I realized, and when other people realize that like, this is actually just a belief, and like, it is true. And also like, you don't have to couple those together. Like it can just be like, you can grow your business fast when good things are happening, when you're just focusing on your pleasure, when you're just doing things that you love, and it actually has nothing to do with the discomfort. So that was a really, really big thing for me. So I love that, bringing in both at the same time when you're getting started in business, or when you're new, or you're trying to grow the next level in your business. How willing to feel discomfort, and how willing are you to invite in pleasure to the process?
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. I think that's so important and powerful. And we get to choose, right? Whatever we believe becomes true. So if you believe the more pleasure I feel, the bigger my business will grow, the more successful I'll be, totally will be. Also, even if you don't believe it, it totally will be because your nervous system is going to be happier. And when our nervous system is happier and we feel safer, we're able to take more action without such an energetic drain. So we actually
Mhm.
feel energized, taking a lot more steps. I don't know if you've ever been in like a flow state where you're like, oh my God, I'm doing all these things. It feels so good. And it's like easy. Why can't I be like this every day? Right. And the more pleasure we invite in, the more of those states we invite in, the more ease we invite in, and things become less of a slog, less of a
Mhm.
to do, more of a like, I get to do, I'm excited to do, I'm energized to do.
Mhm. You know, my biggest fear around work, doing nervous system work and increase, like doing the more pleasurable side of business, was losing my motivation. And there was like a
Yes.
good multi-month period where I 100% lost my motivation when I started in the work.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, maybe it's the sexy science side of it, or like just client experience. Is that a nervous system healing part of it? Because I got to the point and I attribute it to mindset work and belief work for myself.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if there actually is a scientific or other thing you've noticed with clients where when people start addressing their nervous system, issues,
Yeah.
that they can there's a period of losing motivation, or does there even have to be?
Doesn't have to be, but sometimes
Yeah.
it does happen. And what I see is whatever you were doing before, if you're losing motivation for that period of starting this pleasure work or starting your nervous system work, was likely going to burn you out either now, sooner or later, right?
Mm,
So
yeah.
whatever it was not sustainable. Otherwise, we would have been able to sustain it regardless. It would have felt good. It would have felt fun. And I think a lot of us, especially in the earlier years of business, we can move off of that adrenaline bump. We can get a lot of shit done. We can like push, 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 push. And then I think a lot of people fall into a deep burnout. And so you maybe were not at that like super burnout place, or maybe you were, I don't know. But there are periods, just like the seasons, just like we are cyclical with our uteruses, just like the earth is cyclical. There are seasons of production and rest and intuition. And if you are turning in and tuning in and doing nervous system work, sometimes people tend to produce less, but they're getting much more clear on what their next steps are. And so
Mhm.
instead of taking lots and lots and lots of action, they're taking more focused, clear action that takes a lot less energy. And also, we kind of have to address our old beliefs of production
Yeah.
and motivation, right?
Yeah. So this person sent in a part 2 of the original question that I feel like it's now the time to bring up. So the first part was making sure more pleasure in bed translates to more pleasure in business. The second part of
Mhm.
it was, do you have any rituals to make sure of it? Make sure again. So let me rephrase it too. Do you have any rituals you love for bringing more pleasure into business
Yeah. I'm
or
I'm
into
a
bed? Either one, both. Both. Let's hear both.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that for me, the answers are often inside, and I commune a lot with my future self because I find that that helps give me a lot of clarity as to like what are the actual nitty-gritty steps to take, right? It feels much easier for me to be with my future self looking back at what has happened versus my current self now of like what it's just a blank, who knows where to go, right? And so I will lead myself through a vision meditation, and I have a free one I'm happy to share with you and your listeners, Sam. But
Yeah, totally. You guys will put it in the show notes unless you know the URL right now, Rose.
I do not, but it's not usually a freebie that I offer, but I just, it came up
Hear
and I
that, you
think
guys? You get special things from Dr. Rose.
you're my
Exclusive.
favorites. You're my favorites. So yeah, I think that having some time to connect
Did
with
you
your future
explain what the
self.
freebie was? I don't think you did.
It's a vision meditation. It's
okay, great.
It's what I lead all my private clients through. So you just get a little special gift that I don't usually give outside of my private client work, but it's the exact meditation that I take myself through to connect to my future self and identify, like, okay, how do I feel in my body? How do I feel in my relationship? How do I feel in my sex life? And if you're doing this specifically for business, a great question to ask yourself is, how do I feel in my business, right? Like, what am I doing to create this in my business? So that's one ritual that I love doing frequently. Another way that I commune with my future self is through future self gratitude journaling. So literally, like, okay, I'm so grateful that I went to the park today and I danced outside and I took a bath. It feels so good, right? Just checking in with what feels good. I also think that we all have decision fatigue. I certainly do. And I keep a list of what I call powerful pleasure practices. It's literally, here are the things that make me feel good. Here's a menu. When I don't want to come up with something, I just look at it and I say, okay, this looks easy, right? Whether that's, putting on a song and just dancing, even if I'm kind of like, meh, I guess I'm doing my, meh, 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 and then I get into it. Singing, right? I have a sing along playlist that I've been hitting pretty hard lately, clearly.
Wait, why clearly?
Because I've mentioned 2 different Disney songs already.
Oh, okay.
But that are from my playlist. Yeah, it's a lot of like musical theater and songs that are fun for my voice to sing. And then I have a dancey playlist that's fun for my body to dance to. And so for me, it's that. And then I also am a big fan of visual representations of my values, right? So I have Post-its everywhere and things just to remind me, how could I make this feel better? How could I make this 5% easier? So those are some of my kind of day-to-day, moment-to-moment rituals. And then, of course, there's different levels of connection to pleasure, right? There's many different types of pleasure, whether it's sexual, sensual. And so some of my powerful pleasure practices, my PPPs, are like, okay, I'm going to actually massage my whole body when I'm soaping up in the shower. Sometimes it's okay, I'm going to intentionally massage my breasts, which I wouldn't necessarily be intentional about in the shower. So really just checking in, what piece of pleasure do I want to call in today? And how do I shift based on that menu?
I love the idea of a menu specifically for business owners, because whether you're like, I see this again, whether you're over and over again, whether you are just getting started in business or you're at multiple 6 figures, where we will fill an entire work week with stuff, even though it's not necessarily needed in the business. And then just to fill 40 hours or whatever that like somatic baseline is for your body, and like how much output you're conditioned to put in. And like with clients, as you start like, okay, we actually have to clean this up. We have to take things off of your plate. We need to do more of this and less of that. What happens in that open space is they want to create more work.
Yeah.
Like more projects. Now I want to start a podcast. Now I'm going to like a TikTok account is next. I just channeled a brand new program. Like there's a million different things.
Yeah. And
this is not like the root of the answer, but like a hack for this is to fill your time with things other than business. It works. So there could just like, okay, an hour of day is like, you get out your pleasure menu. And you look for your pleasure menu.
Yes. I love this. I was just talking to I had a group right before this call, and we were talking about creating boundaries so that we can invite more pleasure in, and really leaning on the masculine energy that is within all of us to create those systems, to create those boundaries. And one that kept coming up for my clients was, okay, I am really good at doing pleasurable activities with my family, with my friends on the weekends. Totally fun, easy. But when it comes to the weekday, there's always something that I could be doing that's productive. And so I don't often spend my solo time intentionally creating presence and pleasure. And so we talked about really setting up how much time do you want? Do you want 5 minutes? Do you want
Mm,
30 minutes? And really remembering we have to have conversations with our nervous system and say, hey, nervous system, like, I know it feels super unsafe to do nothing right now. I know it feels like the only way to survive, the only way to be successful is to constantly be doing, but we're going to try something different and you're safe. You don't need to be constantly doing anymore. And I'm with you and we'll be okay.
mhm.
Right. And so having little moments in your schedule where you create those boundaries, where you can invite pleasure in, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 30 minutes, is incredibly powerful because I don't know about you, but if it's not on my calendar, I'm probably not going to do it.
Mm. Okay, so something I heard this for the first time a few years ago, and I feel like I've heard you say it recently, and it reawakened it. Was like, okay, like answer the question, what are your three values? Like your three biggest
Mm,
values in your life, and then like, does your bank account and your
yes.
calendar reflect your three values?
Yep.
Like, if pleasure is one of your three values, or like intimacy with your partner, or
Hmm.
creativity, like is that actually what you're spending your money on? Is that actually what you're spending your time on? So
Hmm.
I can let you talk on that if you want to.
Yeah, I talk about this with my clients all the time. I talk about like a little alien came down and looked at
Mm,
your energy, right? They could sense your energetic bank account. They could look at your actual physical financial bank account. They could look at your calendar. Would it
mhm,
reflect? And I love adding our energy bank account in there because I think that a lot of the time it's less tangible to be able to identify like how much of my energy is going to swirling about producing at work or is going to mental gymnastics and how much of my energy is spent in pleasure and to
yeah,
really reflect on that or how much of my energy is spent intentionally connecting to myself or to my partner.
yeah,
Such a powerful reflection and really important not to judge ourselves when we do this because it's
totally.
so easy to get into a space where we're unintentionally taking actions out of fear. And that's another piece of hey, when you start doing nervous system work, your motivations might change because you're changing your motivations from fear to excitement or love or wanting, right? Instead of afraid of what's going to happen if you don't, excited about
Mhm,
what will happen if you do. It's a very
mhm,
different thing. And I just think it's powerful to have that and give yourself permission. This doesn't have to change overnight, but how could I make this 3% more aligned with my values? How could I spend 3% more money on something that just makes me feel good just for the sake of feeling good? Like my partner and I have a joke. You probably saw it when you were staying with us. My tiny little pinatas on the mantle.
why don't I remember this?
Maybe it's like a little subtle, but they're mini pinatas that I
Uh-huh,
find at Target. And before we had our pets, who
uh-huh.
you adore, Shadow and Rugby, our two black cats, but before we had our children, I kept buying these tiny little pinatas because they just make me happy. And I would name them. I have Herman, I have George, and Nikki looked at me and she was like, I think we need a pet.
Uh,
But like that was truly money that was just spent on pleasure. Like there's literally
yeah.
no reason to have that pinata other than it just makes me feel good. And I named it Herman, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh, well, thank you so much, Rose, for being here with us and coming on and sharing all of your wisdom. Where can
Yes.
people find you on the internet?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at Be Well with Rose. You can find me online at www.bewellwithrose.com. And I will send my vision meditation to Sam so you can get your hands on that. But I have another free offering that I love to share with people, which is basically it's a let's talk about sex guide. So if you're kind of at the beginning of this journey where you're like, I would love to invite more pleasure in the bedroom, but I just don't really know how to start the conversation. It feels really awkward. It feels like my partner's going to feel like I'm telling them they're doing something wrong, right? all of those things are really common. And also we can have fun with this. So that's why I created this resource. It's basically a Mad Lib. You can laugh about it. You can joke. It can be silly. And if anything's weird, you can blame me. And it works out pretty well. So if you want that free guide, you can go to www.bewellwithrose.com/talk, TALK. So it's Let's Talk About Sex.
Cute. And then are you still doing group programs or just one-on-one now?
Yeah. So I don't know when my next group is going to be, but if you want to work with me one-on-one, I am taking new clients, and basically we go through my signature method, which connects all the dots between your physiology, your psychology, your emotional connection with your partner, your communication strategies, and undoing some of that societal gunk that might be getting in the way of connecting to yourself. And I love working with women and career leaders and helping people just feel really excited and open and ease around intimacy. And there's a lot of business side effects that come with that. So
that's why people are getting into it. Thank you so much. Do you have any final words of wisdom for everyone?
I think when we start to talk about some of these things, it can be really easy to feel like you want to become a sex goddess or shift yourself completely. And I just want to let you know that there's nothing wrong with you. And however you're feeling is probably really common. I've never talked to anyone about their sex life and been like, you're the only one. I've never heard this before. Right? And, you know, we can clear away some of the gunk that's getting in the way of connecting to yourself, but just as you are already perfect, right? There's nothing wrong with you. So just knowing that it gets to be easy, it gets to feel good, you get to feel connected, and it can be fun. So
perfect ending note. See you guys next week, guys. Bye.
Thank you.